This is Kiera Hogan, and you're watching the High Spot Podcast on YouTube.
All right, Trendsetter, we're going to find out if Hogan really knows best. Kiera Hogan's with us.
Wow, I'm sure she's never heard that one before.
Well,
Right.
May the Queen reign here in Richmond Park, New Jersey for Battle Club Pro. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you guys doing?
Great. Here at an event, first time ever. Going to be crowning a brand new first ever Battle Club Pro Women's Champion. When it comes to events like this, first times ever, it's very few and far between when it comes to professional wrestling.
Definitely. For all women's events, though, I feel like most of us do know each other. We've been around the block with each other a couple times, but women's shows are always the best because, most of the time we only get one women's match a card, and to have all women's shows to be such a big thing now, it's great. It's, again, another evolution, another stepping stone for women.
Yeah, it seems like it's high in demand, too. A lot of people want to see it.
It very much is. I mean, obviously with the women's revolution going on right now, it's definitely more high in demand, but, women on the indies been doing it forever. So the fact that we keep getting the opportunities to be able to work and do shows together with just women definitely gets to show. We get to showcase like what as women we can do.
Now, Impact Wrestling, a lot of people could say that they kind of started the women's revolution because of the roster and then the way they really portrayed the knockouts in the beginning. And now you guys seem to have like a loaded roster right now. Talk about you entering Impact Wrestling. You kind of got in there, had a title shot the first match. Talk about just Impact Wrestling and how it's opened doors for you and just just the atmosphere of Impact Wrestling.
Well, right now, I mean, being a part of Impact Wrestling is great. They're bringing lots of girls, Tessa, and they brought back Katarina, and it's a good dynamic at Impact right now as far as the women go. I used to watch TNA when I was a kid, and I could only imagine being a knockout because I loved how different they were, and I loved how everybody looked different and everybody was able to be themselves. I feel they had way more leeway at the time, and obviously they pushed women a lot to do different things like ladder matches and cage matches and stuff like that. So they had a lot more leeway and were able to do a lot of things that women weren't able to do at the time. So I'm glad to be a part of the Knockouts division, especially knowing the history of the Knockouts.
Well, we're glad that you're part of it as well, and just watching you on a day-to-day basis every week on Impact is great. Something in terms about finding yourself is always a huge transition in terms of in this business. Everyone needs to find themselves, not only in terms of stylistically in the ring, but also yourself as a quote-unquote character persona. Where do you feel you are right now in your career? Do you feel like you're at that point where you kind of have figured that out, and then it's not just an evolution? You're still trying to figure things out as you go?
I'm definitely still trying to figure things out. I mean, the Girl on Fire has definitely grown a lot in the past 3 years.
Definitely.
Like, I remember when I first started doing the Girl on Fire, and now that I've been able to really take hold of what actually it is and been able to use different fire quotes and lyrics and just been able to get a lot of inspiration from a lot of different things. I feel like the Girl on Fire has hit a plateau, honestly. I feel like now, right at this point, I do need an evolution.
So you're like a crossroads right now trying to figure things out.
I just feel like now, I'm still trying to figure out completely the Girl on Fire, but I feel like there needs to be a switch of some sort as far as my character goes.
Now, when did you realize that this is something that I wanted to do, that you wanted to be a wrestler? I know you've you've done reality wrestling, you've also done Shine, and so where did you get that passion? Where did you get that drive to want to start being a professional wrestler?
That fire.
That fire, exactly.
Pun intended.
Right, all intended. I was actually 14 when I decided I wanted to be a wrestler. I was in middle school, and I was like, I was obsessed with it. I was watching wrestling every night, and I would write down the results in a notebook and share it with my friends the next day. I was obsessed with it. So I was playing soccer at the time. I knew I kind of felt like I wanted to go into soccer, but then I was like, I don't know what I really want to do. And I loved wrestling. There was just something about it that I was so passionate about. And I was like, I really think I can do this. So when I graduated high school, I started looking into where I could go. And FCW was one of the first places, because when I wanted to be a wrestler, I didn't know that you're supposed to go to the indies. And then I was like, oh,
back
you
in my
go?
day.
Right, you go straight to WWE.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to go to FCW. But FCW was expensive, and I didn't have a job. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to stay in Atlanta, and I ended up going to WWA4, which was, again, I just looked up wrestling schools.
Yeah.
I Googled it. WWA4 in Atlanta was the first place that popped up, and I just happen to live in Atlanta, so that's why.
So some people, get their first bump and they're like, ouch, and then they never do it again. So obviously you took your first
I've seen
bump
that.
and obviously you took your first bump and you're like, oh, I love it, I want more, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like after that first one, it was kind of like a dream. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. I want to do it again. Like I was just so excited. I was just so ready to learn everything that I could at the time. Like, and even to this day, when I get in the ring with anybody, I feel like I learned so much. Like no matter who I'm in the ring with, if they've been in the business a short amount of time than me or a longer amount of time, like I feel like I just learned so much every time I step in the ring, and like that first bump literally set it ablaze.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, nice. But with that being said, there's so many different perspectives, from a learning curve mentally to the physical progression. When you have to, you never get really physically used to it, but you get to the point where you can cope with it. Talk about in terms of the mindset. You said you're a fan. You loved it since you're 14 years old. Now you're in it. Can you see it from different perspectives now? You see it from the business side and you see it from the fans' perspective. What side do you see it on? Do you kind of toe the line down the middle?
It's kind of hard being like just a fan. Like I feel like I'm always gonna be passionate about it, obviously, because I am gonna be in love with wrestling until the day I die. That's how I feel about it. I just feel like now being a wrestler, I do look at it differently, but more in a wrestler's perspective instead of a fan, because I know more.
Yeah.
So I critique when I watch wrestling now instead of like enjoying it. And I feel like, not that I've lost the enjoyment of wrestling, I've watched the enjoyment of watching it. Like, I love doing it, but watching it, it's really different, because now I'm like, oh, well, what about that? Oh, I see that. Oh, I don't like that. I'm more critiquing than actually enjoying it.
Do you critique your matches? Are you your
Oh,
worst
definitely.
critic?
Yes. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Like, there's been countless amount of times that I go into a match and I come out of it and I start crying because I know I messed up, or I know that I did something wrong, or I know I missed this spot, or, I'm definitely always going to be my biggest critic. So when I hear it from other people, I get even harder on myself.
Yeah.
So it definitely is a different viewpoint being a wrestler, but I'm always going to be a fan.
So you still haven't had the perfect match yet, right?
I don't think so.
It's probably an illusion, something you strive for, but it's probably never going to happen.
I mean, a perfect match, it's so rare. I feel like, obviously there's guys that can flip and do all these crazy things, and it could be perfect 10s all the time. But I feel like because I'm still so new, and I know I'm still so new. I've only been wrestling for 3 years in April, so I know where I stand as a professional in this business. Like, I know I'm still new and I'm still learning, so nothing is ever perfect for me.
So, okay, 3 years, right? And already in Impact Wrestling. So you're kind of like on that fast track. You kind of like are really are on fire. Like a prodigy here. Like
I'm sweating standing right here next to her.
Some
Me
people,
too.
some people are here.
It has nothing to do with the building.
Like 5
Maybe
5 years, 10 years, and they don't get to that fast track. But you obviously, there's something in you. Obviously, there's a knit factor with you. You can tell with the hair. And how long did it take you to find your character?
Oh, I started doing the fire hair in 2016.
Yeah.
The end of 2016, might be the end of 2015. I was just trying to find a look for me. Like, it was my look.
Yeah.
Let me not go into that. It was my look. So I was so passionate about just finding something that made me stand out and made me different. And I knew I loved red hair. I've always wanted red hair. That was something like Lita and like Maria and Christy Hemme, like those fiery redheaded girls were always the most energetic in the fire.
Yeah.
And I just wanted red hair so bad. So when I finally found like the girl on fire, I was like, why don't I do fire hair? And my stylist surprised me with the yellow, and I was like, I love it. I want to keep it. And is it still my look? Yes, it's still mine. I'm still
hers.
the girl.
It's hers.
It's mine. Okay. But yeah, when I finally did found it, it's definitely my niche now. Like, people know, oh, there's Kiera,
Because you got to stand out, right?
Oh,
You got to be different.
I had black hair one time and nobody knew who I was.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
You said you've been in 3 years, like Jeff mentioned before. Has it felt like 3 years? Or have you had a chance to enjoy the journey sometimes? Because it's really easy to get kind of lost in the journey as you're trying to get to where you want to get your ultimate goal.
I try to just take it day by day and enjoy every moment that I have traveling, being in the ring, learning, doing seminars. Like, I try to just not think about the long haul, because for so long I was thinking about why I wasn't getting this now, why I wasn't doing this. Because I saw all my friends, like, girls that I started with were getting further than me. So I was like, why is it not happening for me? What am I doing wrong? But I just have to remember, everybody's journey is different. Like, everybody's going to take a different journey. Fans are going to like who they like. Like, it just, it's going to happen for me one day. I'm still like trying to just, again, take it day by day, just take every experience with a grain of salt, just enjoy it, and then I'll get my, my moment.
It's good. And obviously, Impact Wrestling, amazing, that roster. I mean, with Tessa, we saw the little, I guess, running that you two guys had backstage.
A little
altercation, there you go, a war of words, so to speak. Just real quick for me, as far as independent wrestling and as far as like events like this, okay, we're here, Battle Club Pro, May the Queen reign. Talk about just the resurgence of independent wrestling and the surge that it's on. Of course, All In is in September.
Yes. 30 minutes.
Yeah. What do you think? Like, what do you think of just wrestling right now?
I think the indies are on fire. Yeah. There it is.
There you go again.
Hey, I always find a way to put it in.
What's the over/under on puns here on this interview?
I have to put it in every time.
Exactly.
If I find a slide, I just put it in. I'm like, but I mean, honestly, like the independents are like, honestly, like they're on fire right now. Like, there's just so many things happening. There's so many different promotions coming up, and there's so many that are doing very well. And I just feel like the independence is where it's at right now. Honestly, I really do.
And with that being said, it's everywhere. There seems to be so much more places where people can hone their craft. Mm-hmm. But again, I ask this question, people get tired of me asking it, but I have to because it's so much validity behind it, especially now today in today's business, is that, with so many opportunities to go and work on your craft, there's so many places to now distribute it.
Yeah.
Talking about social media, branding yourself, making yourself popular out there, giving yourself a fan base of you, really marketing who you are.
Definitely.
How vital is that for yourself starting out, and also, more importantly, for anybody else coming in this business? It seems like a really good time right now, because if you just want something, say I want your stuff, and you want something to Japan, here's a link, go watch it.
I think right now social media is definitely a big part of everything. I feel like you branding yourself and putting yourself out there and selling what you want people to buy is a huge part of wrestling. Like, I think it's always been a huge part of wrestling, but now that social media is such a big thing, I feel like once you put yourself out there, people are going to watch, they're going to listen, they're going to pay attention. But like, again, I say, like, fans are going to like who they like, they're going to say what they say. I mean, social media is always going to be like one of those things where people are going to be, you're going to have your trolls and your people. I've gotten it, even though, like.
Why?
It's just.
Why would that happen?
Haters.
Haters and bullies and people just trying to bring you down because, they have nothing but better to do but to do that because they don't know what to do with their lives, so they just sit online and type mean things to people.
Critique others for their successes.
Right.
They're sitting on the couch and they've never done
right.
what you do for 1 second.
I think the only people, like, I feel like some fans will never understand what it's like to step foot in that ring. And they will never understand it. So when they talk about it or they talk bad about it or they come on my page and say mean things or they comment, honestly, I ignore it, I delete them, and I block them because there's no reason to even feed into it. Because if you feed into it, they win.
Yeah. Kiera Hogan, thank you for your time. Last one for me is Impact Wrestling recently, well, not recently, in the past, it's had that bad rap. Mm-hmm. And now under new leadership, do you see it changing? Do you see the change? I do,
honestly. Like, these last set of tapings that we did, with Tessa being there and then bringing Katarina back, they brought a lot of people back. I'm thinking they're really trying to resurrect Impact, I feel. There was a weird dynamic, like when I first got signed, there was something weird going on.
I guess a changeover.
Yeah, and that's what it was. It was just a changeover, but like when they got the ball rolling finally, it's just like, okay, now they're on a roll. They're trying to get on the roll. They're trying to be on that roll. So I feel like right now Impact's I feel like it's gonna get big, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean, it's good for the business. It's good for everyone, right?
It is. And one final one for me, with that being said, we just talked about, do you feel there's like a fire in that locker room? Everybody's now enthusiastic, wanting to kind of top each other.
Definitely.
In terms of feeling worried about stability or where leadership's going to be.
Everybody wants everybody to succeed. I feel like right now, Impact is such a team effort. There's such a family effort. Everybody wants to look out for everybody. Everybody wants everybody to succeed and do well. In the knockouts division in particular, I feel like all the women are there for everybody. Like, everybody wants everybody to do well. And Gail's over everybody, so Gail wants everybody to succeed. So I feel like, again, Impact's going to grow, and people are finally going to see, like, that good, growing dynamic from Impact.
Kiera, I'm excited to see you wrestle here. This will be the first time I watch you live and in person. I'm looking forward to it. That's one of the matches I'm looking forward to tonight. And I want to wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
And, best in everything that you do. And thank you for coming on the High Spot Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Appreciate it.